Hey guys, welcome to Questionable Walk. I'm Taylor Stahl.
Carson Marsh.
And I'm Sebastian Natashi.
We are here to give you our from this weekend and all the different games going on. CJ, you want to start with Thursday night football?
Yep, Thursday night football. We got a game tonight. Giants versus Eagles. Also have Biden versus Trump. But, of course, we're going to be focused on the Eagles, Giants. Eagles are -4.5 favorites. And the over-under is set at 44.5. Seb, I know these Eagles are beat up. Which way are you leaning tonight in this TNF showdown?
Well, like you said, the Eagles are beat up. Obviously, both teams off to a bad start. The whole division off to a bad start. And the Eagles still in it. They don't have as many. They don't have a key player out like Saquon, like the Giants do. They have a chance to make the playoffs. Obviously, they're not as bad as their record showing, at least in my opinion. So this is a game that they have to win. 4.5 point favorites. Obviously, it's Thursday night. It's an in-division rival. Anything could kind of happen, but the Eagles have to take care of business tonight.
So I'm actually going to argue with you. Play devil's advocate. I think the Eagles are as bad as their record the record indicates. The NFC least division is right now. I think the top team in that division, I think, is the Cowboys at 2 and 3. They might be at 2 and 4. Got to check on that, Taylor. We might need advanced statistics on that one. But if Andy Dalton is the leading quarterback in your division, then you really got to think: was Carson Wentz the guy to go with, or should you? Should you have traded him if you're the Eagles and stick with Nick Foles? I mean, Nick Foles right now is 4-1 as a starter. Carson Wentz shows flashes, but I mean, this team tied with the Bengals, led by Joe cover the spread Burrow, and I think the Giants at +4.5 are good value tonight, and I think Danny Dimes he could put on a show, but I don't know. I think the Eagles are a little too banged up. It would be an interesting over/under play. Taylor, are you leaning? I know you told me earlier you're leaning over on this 44.5. I don't know.
I mean,
about this.
from a non-bettor's perspective, I would stay away from this game. I think this game. I don't know if you guys have checked Twitter recently, but they're just getting absolutely like the joke of the NFL right now. This game tonight, so I that as better self to be like, all right, this is a game I would stay away from, first of all, because nobody knows what's going to happen and nobody really cares what's going to happen. Sure. But I like how you guys gave both perspectives, and then my perspective of just running away the opposite direction. But yeah, that's honestly my take on this. I could not care less.
Wait. Actually, so Seb, looking at these two coaches, Doug Peterson, obviously Super Bowl champion. We got Joe Judge, Super Bowl champion, and an assistant role with New England. Do you think Doug Peterson could outcoach Joe Judge tonight in this game?
I mean, like you said, both have Super Bowl experience, and we've seen some assistant coaches from the Patriots obviously struggle in that head coaching role once they leave Bill Belichick in the system. So I don't know. I definitely could see that. I don't think tonight will necessarily come down to as much coaching. Like when you're playing. These two teams have obviously played a lot. They know what to expect. They know what they're running, so it's just going to come down to execution. And a lot of times that's the players on the field, which the whole of the NFC East has not been doing well so far this year.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I agree with you. I'm taking Eagles money line, but maybe Giants spread. Definitely not my questionable lock of the week, but it's a questionable game. So I don't know. We might have to follow Taylor's advice. Divisional game, we might want to stay out of it.
Let's talk about the game that I want to be in, though. If I was a bettor, I would run straight forward. Is the Titans versus Steelers. What do you guys have to say about that?
Seb, you want to go first?
Yeah. So this game now, both teams 5-0, fifth time we've had this in NFL history, I believe. It was supposed to happen during Week 4 when the Titans had their first outbreak with COVID-19. So there was some tension between the two teams. The Steelers players felt like they didn't really get their bye week because they had practiced the whole week until the game got postponed, but it doesn't matter now. Both teams at 5-0, extremely tight on both the money line and the spread. I think a couple different places depending on where you look. I saw Steelers at -1, Titans at -1.
Right.
But two really good teams, and it's the battle of offense versus defense, with the Titans offense being one of the best in the league. They don't turn the ball over very much. Steelers defense, we've seen how good it is, and their offense is nothing to laugh at either. I think they're maybe 9th in points per game, something like that. They've been getting it done. They crushed the Browns last week, and the Titans kind of struggled with the Texans a little bit before winning that game in overtime. So I'm leaning towards the Steelers this week, CJ and Taylor. I don't know about you guys, but just the way that they've been playing, and they look like a team that could actually make a deep run. That they're clicking all over, and that defense is something to reckon with.
For sure. I think I'd have to agree with you on that one, Seb. I would take the Steelers on this one for sure. I think the money line is what, -120? I don't know. I think that's what it was.
It's somewhere around there for the Titans.
Yeah, it's somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's -100 for the Titans too.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a close game either way, but I'm definitely leaning towards the Steelers for sure.
Yeah, Steelers at +110 value is great value. Although I do think this Titans team is for real. I've been a big Ryan Tannehill hater for years, just with his time at the Dolphins. But I think it's time for me to actually wake up and realize that Tannehill's playing like a top 10 quarterback. I mean, I don't know if you guys watched the Texans-Titans game last week, but he let a drive down the field. I mean, granted, you have the best runner in the NFL.
Right.
Just chucking heads across the field. Tannehill hit a dart in the end zone to tie the game up. Texans are also a team that their record does not indicate how good they are. They're, I think, 1-5 right now. But, a team led by Deshaun Watson and David Johnson with a new head coach. I mean, they're a good team. I bet on them last week. Obviously lost because Derrick Henry had that huge run in overtime. I'm going to lean Steelers because I think Steelers are a big Super Bowl candidate for me, at least. I think
absolutely
they easily win the AFC. And I think this is a matchup we may actually see in the playoffs. And this regular season game might not indicate what happens then. But the Steelers, with Mike Tomlin, great players coach. Mike Vrabel, also a great coach. The Titans, great players coach. But I'm going to have to lean Steelers, go with Big Ben's 38-year-old arm, and ride with my boys too. So, yeah, I like Steelers at +110. But it's going to be a close game.
I think this
I think that this honestly have to be my questionable lock of the week. And I'm going to take that Steelers. We have it at +10 right here, or +110, money line. I am a little worried, though, like you said, Titans a good team. They can do it offensively. Their defense has given up 30, I think, in 5 of their games this year. And there will be fans in attendance. I saw last week the Titans had about 10K fans there. And it's going to be – they don't know if they're going to increase it or not. There might be more. There might be less. But that could play a difference also. But I'm taking the Steelers. I'm trusting in that defense, that offense, and hopefully maybe they can slow down Derrick Henry. But we'll just have to see.
I think, Carson, you wanted to talk a little bit about some college football happening real quick.
Yeah, so for the viewer, make sure you check out our Big Ten preview written by yours truly on coachball.com. So Saturday night we have a Big Ten primetime against number 18 Michigan at number 21 Minnesota. Michigan is a -2.5 or a -3 favorite. They're -140 on the money line. And this game is pretty split amongst bettors. PJ Fleck's squad obviously had a great season last year. I think they defeated Auburn in the bowl game, if I'm not going to be mistaken, and Michigan had a Harbaugh meltdown again against Alabama.
Again. Granted,
it's Alabama. However, I'm going to have to lock this one in as my questionable lock of the week for the Michigan spread at -2.5 or 3 because of several reasons. Michigan at the beginning of the year always plays well against Big Ten opponents. And ranked teams in general. It's always when they play Ohio State, they get destroyed. But when they usually play Big Ten conference opponents, they usually do really well. And Jim Harbaugh, he gets a lot of crap. But recency bias aside, he's a great coach. Year after year, Michigan gets top 10 talent. They usually have a top 5 recruiting class. So I'm just going to say, one more thing is Minnesota's squad has had a COVID-19 outbreak recently. We don't know what key players are missing, but we do know that a couple players are out. The game is supposed to be happening. But granted all these things, I think PJ Fleck from Minnesota, great coach, but I think Michigan -3 has got to be my questionable lock of the week. Joe Milton, quarterback. Christian McCaffery's brother sitting out this year, so we'll see what Michigan can do with Joe Milton. But we saw what they could do with Shea Patterson, who, in my opinion, wasn't that great. Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know, Seb, if you
I'll probably stay away from this one because it is one of the first games of the year. I did see that Dylan McCaffrey, I believe his name is, opted out, not playing. Obviously not as talented as his brother, but I think you made a good point with Harbaugh being able to handle these kind of games and he's obviously had his struggles in the bowl games, his struggles against Ohio State, but these are the ones that he seems to win and get. This is where everyone starts to become more hype on Michigan around this time before they eventually have their little collapse. So I think I'm going to have to agree with you on this one.
I just want to talk about the Dodgers. So are we good to move on?
Yeah, go for it. Segue us in there.
All right. So we're on game 3 tomorrow. Today's an off day. 1-1, obviously series. I am super excited for game 3 personally because Bueller, one of my favorite pitchers, aka Butane, because he throws gas. I'm super excited to watch him play against Morton. I think this is a fantastic series so far, and I really don't know how this is going to go, just because it depends on which team you get. Like, what kind of Dodgers are we getting today? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's going to be my questionable lock of just the Dodgers taking the entire series. I honestly, you can't go day by day with them. It's just like not the team to do that with. But how are you guys feeling about it?
I'm Dodgers fan also, so I wanted, it's hard to not pick them in every game, but
Right.
this is a game where we have the over-under at 7.5, and I've taken the over, I think, in every other Dodgers game this playoff. But coming off that extra day's rest, you have your ace stealing. You have, for Charlie Morton for the Rays, one of their aces, been a guy in the league. They get that extra day of rest. I'm expecting to come out and deal tomorrow night. So this one might be one where, like we've seen the Dodgers execute really well, infield singles, infield defense, where you save those kind of runs, and it ends up being like a 3-1, 3-2 ball game. But Charlie Morton, for those Dodgers fans who might remember, in Game 7 against the Astros when they were cheating, he threw 4.5 or 5 scoreless, I think, in that Game 7 at Dodger Stadium and got the win. So there's some bad blood there for sure. They don't want that to happen again. But I thought that last night was a tough game for them. Obviously, when you kind of decide that you're going to do a bullpen game, one or two of those guys are going to come out flat and give up some hits, and they did a really good job of staying in the game, which is encouraging because, the Rays bullpen, I think they've given up like a run, or they've lost one game when leading after the seventh inning this year, which is just ridiculous. And they were able to do some damage. So I'm leaning towards Dodgers again. I have them in 6. So I'm expecting the Rays to get another one, but tomorrow night you have your ace going, your number one pitcher. Those are the ones you got to come out with.
I mean, it's sad. You couldn't have put it any better. Taylor, back to your point when you said you don't really know what Dodgers team may show up. Well, just adding on that, I mean, the bomb squad for the Dodgers is always going to show up, and that's why this over 7.5. I mean, the scores have been lighting it up, and it's actually it blows my mind. This is one of the lowest rated World Series in recent memory, especially because I don't know. It just seems like every game. It's last night. I know the over under for live betting in the 6th inning was 10.5, and finished at. Someone help me. Finish at 10.
I think it was 6-4. So 10.
Yeah.
These games have been incredibly high scoring, so I'm gonna have to take the over 7.5. I like. Minus 153 for the Dodgers with no home field advantage. But it's been a great series so far. So if you haven't, I recommend tuning in to the viewer.
Yeah, for sure. And I'd honestly have to agree with Seb. I mean, I think it's just going to be either one. But I think that also with the day of rest and then going into Game 3 with these two guys that throw absolute heat, like it also, this would be the game that they don't have a high scoring game, like out of the entire series, this would be the one that wouldn't be that high scoring. So it's a questionable lock, we don't know.
It's really hard when you get to the World Series because you have two teams that are obviously, we've seen it, the way that they draw walks, that they get on base. You don't know what's going to happen. Like you want to have faith in those pitchers and say, oh, it's the World Series. They're here. They're going to shut them down. But, Dodgers, one of the best offenses of baseball. Rays, Brandon Lau last night, 2 home runs. He was hitting, I think, 130 in the playoffs or something. So they're going to figure it out. It's a very good team. And I am definitely a little worried, but I'm confident in my 6-game bet. So I am going to go with that under for the first time. I'm going to change that to my questionable lock because that's very questionable.
Yeah.
Is that under 7.5? But yeah, I'm hoping Walker can give us 6 or 7 tomorrow and we can close it out.
All righty. Anything else about the Dodgers, guys?
Don't think so. Taylor, you want to segue us into UFC?
Yeah, so this Saturday we have one of the biggest fights that's been happening recently of Khabib versus Gaethje.
Maybe
I might go Gaethje. I think I might go with Gaethje.
Yeah, who knows at this point? But we have Khabib at minus 350 with like a 76% chance of winning right here. But then we have Gaethje, who these guys think is the guy to take it from him. So what do you guys have to say about this?
You go first, Siege.
All right, so UFC 254, like Taylor said, or tried to pronounce, Khabib Nurmagomedov. Khabib, the bear, the big Russian guy who destroyed McGregor, versus Justin Gaethje, who we saw recently this year. And, you know, I was thinking, you know, plus 270 for Gaethje. I don't know, but then I got this little betting angel that came on my shoulder. I kept listening to the horn or whatever, and to be honest, I'm gonna have to lock in Khabib at minus 350. Mm-hmm. I just think that Khabib is undefeated. He hasn't shown mortality in these fights, and if this goes boxing against Gaethje, then I think Gaethje easily could win this. Not easily, but he could win this fight. But the thing is, Khabib takes his opponents to the ground. He wrestled a grizzly bear, so I think he can take Justin on the ground within 5 rounds. But, you know, Gaethje's a tough opponent. Scott, what do you think on this?
So, like you said, Khabib, obviously, undefeated. And it's really hard for me to pick against him. The last time he did a big fight like this, I watched him just pick apart McGregor. The way, like, he just puts guys in the positions that he wants them to be in because, you know, like you said, he's unbelievable on the ground in that wrestling. So he does what he can to get you there. He tires you out. Justin Gaethje, plus 270. The only person I think that could beat Khabib, you know, and it's hard because Justin Gaethje was an All-American wrestler in college. I believe he won a national championship, might have won one in high school too. But he doesn't really fight like that. So he has that background to be able to deal with Khabib. But I don't know, it's hard. It's so hard to not pick Khabib because he's so good, like actually so good.
Especially
but plus 270 with the guy that, you know, you're coming to fight Khabib, you have nothing to lose. You know what I mean? Everyone is expecting you to get taken down, get handled. But if I had to bet, there's no way I can pick against him. And if he does lose, that's on us.
As much as we love an underdog story, like as much as it would be cool to see Gaethje take him, I don't see it happening.
He just dominates people. It's so fun to watch. Dominates.
I mean, number one pound for pound fighter in the world. Like I just
And just for the record, I hope we're wrong. I really
Me too.
I want Khabib to win, honestly. I like him. I mess with him.
I love a good underdog.
After he shut McGregor up, after we handled that, Khabib's the boy.
You know, I'm all here for U.S. versus Russia. I'm all here for that. Non-real
I'm
life.
here for the
But sports, I'm all in for. So look,
like Rocky again.
Exactly.
I want to see the underdog do some damage, but I don't know. I would probably take Khabib, honestly, though, as my questionable lock of the week.
That's going to be a great fight, though. Everyone should tune into that if you can find the illegal stream. I'm pretty sure it's a pay-per-view.
Yeah, we don't pay for things like that.
Yeah, we don't.
All right, guys. Anything else?
I don't know if that concludes. I think that concludes.
I think that's it, yeah.
Alrighty, guys. Well, make sure you like and subscribe and check out our website at questionablelock.com. These guys are getting on the Instagram and Twitter recently, so make sure you go check that out.
Follow us.
Have a good day. Hope you win this weekend.